live. We're live. Night Views is live, man.
What an intro. What an intro.
It's like a new beginning to basketball coverage for Seal Nation Sports and Entertainment is the official new name of it.
Okay.
I'm Sil Abdul, joined by the one and only Carlos Silos.
So what's up?
Appreciate you, man, for really helping me get this off the ground again with the basketball talk. And
thanks for having me, bro.
Shout out to everybody, like I said, that's going to find this. We are streaming this on Twitter, first off, and on the Seal Nation. That's the Seal Nation Sports Twitter, and also on the Seal Nation Sports YouTube channel. Just when it's live, because after that, I'm going to chop it up and put it on YouTube. But so if y'all catch it live, I catch it live. And then we on your platforms as well, too, Carlos, right?
Yes, sir. We're on my Twitter page, and then we also on Real Talk Productions YouTube page. So we are live on both of those. So
that is what's up. So definitely catch it live when y'all catch it live. But then we also are going to, for sure, have my little follow-up videos that we're going to do as well, too. But I got to say, with this rebranding and as far as what we're doing, I'm going to share just a little story for people that's, has been following my different platforms. I do film and stuff like that. There was a few times, most of the times I get people to help me with the layouts and backgrounds and everything. And I definitely appreciate it because I'm too busy. Only a few times I've did something from the ground up. One of the major times was Scoop Center with Mikey Sutton, if people follow my film stuff. He gave me the title of it, Scoop Center, and I was just like, I got a vision. I'm just going to build it from there and be something different. And this is really the same vibes I'm getting, the same like hype I had with Scoop Center is really what we're doing right now here with Carlos, man. So like I said,
high praise, man. That's high praise.
I'm telling you, this is a game changer. I really feel it. And we're going to get into some topics here. And y'all probably going to see why I just feel so good about this overall. Now, I like to think of myself, Carlos, as, as a gentleman. Carlos is a gentleman. We try to, open up doors. People be polite. So I figured we had to start with ladies first, right?
Yes,
ladies
sir.
First. We're going to start with a little WNBA talk. For sure. Because we got to show the ladies some love, man. Now, we're going to look at the all-star teams here. But before we do that, Carlos, I made it pretty clear. I really wasn't watching the WNBA before this season. Like, I'm gonna keep her just 100% real. It just, you know what I mean? It could be for various reasons. I remember when the WNBA first started, and I watched that first season. I do remember that. The great Houston Comets won 4 straight championships. I don't remember everybody's name. I know Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper was a beast.
Taurasi. I always remember Taurasi's name.
Yeah, it was
Candace Parker.
Candace Parker is like probably the greatest female player ever. I remember it just certain players I will remember, like, and we could talk about why we watch it now, Carlos, but for you personally, WNBA, like, did it move the needle for you before this season much?
So, to be real with you, what got me watching WNBA right now, and again, nothing against the women. I think they're really talented. I've coached.
We love women here.
All day, every day. I've coached youth leagues with the boys leagues and the girls leagues. I've coached basketball wise both avenues, and I honestly think that girls can take the game to the next level when it comes to dribbling, shooting, all that good stuff. But with the WNBA, the reason why I'm so tuned in now was because with the WNCAA, it felt like, and this is not to diminish what they do, they do, but the WWE aspect of rivalry that came between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, like, it just got me tuned in every game. So then now seeing it in the big stage in the WNBA, now it's like I want to watch every game. I want to see. It's like a storyline and it's building up, and they're like going after it, So
right.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, certain things like would draw you to the game. I think, like you said, it was the women's NCAA, that rivalry, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, right? Now, I want to talk about my experience. Now, I wasn't watching any college ball at all, really, 2 seasons ago. And then I just heard about this championship game, and I heard about Caitlin Clark is, this wonderful star and things like that, right? And it was a championship game against LSU. And I was kind of watching. I was like, oh, let's see if, they said she could shoot like Steph Curry, So I'm like, oh, let me see what she can do, you know what I'm saying? And I saw the end just like everybody else saw. Angel Reese was taunting her, right? Like, pointed to the finger, and you can't see me. And I was instantly hooked, like, oh, man, like, who is this? Like, she kind of raw. And from there, I was interested in the story, like I said, the rivalry. And I paid attention to the next season. Wasn't watching men's college at all. I was just watching women's college basketball. And there's a few other stars we'll probably touch on just as we go with these shows. But that's what got me into women's basketball, period. So the fact that they took this over to the WNBA, that's why I'm interested in. And I got a chance to see some other players as well. I did watch the Las Vegas Aces last season. I did watch their championship, a couple of their games. Asia Wilson is a beast, right? So Kelsey Plum is always great as well too. Man, we're gonna talk about her in just a second too. But just because I feel like with this show we're kind of introducing ourselves to possibly people that will click on it in the future and say, oh, they talking about WNBA. What's their story? That's the story. Is that
And there's just to shut out a couple of the NCAA women. There's definitely a lot more women that I actually tuned into last year as well. Names I have to go through the list and actually get their names down, but there's a couple teams out there that for the coming seasons that it's going to put them on the map even more and making it more exciting for the WNBA in the future.
For sure. I mean, I the first name I think of with we talking about women are still in college right now, Juju Watkins in USC.
Juju.
I'm going to be watching every game. Paige Bucher with UConn, who people favor. They probably win the championship next year. So those are the two. That's funny we mentioned those two. That was the two I was going to actually bring up later, but we are talking about it now. But these are the two. I was like, I'm going to be watching that game, especially Juju, because she gets trained by like NBA players. Like,
and she was almost there last season, man. She was almost there last season.
Yeah. Well, who she lose to? UConn.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, it's a couple powerhouses right there, and I'm just saying, in the future with Night Views, people that will find this when we have WNBA topics, we're saying like, yo, we are interested in this women basketball, and we're gonna make sure we get a few topics in, for sure for that. Now, as we're talking about with the All-Star, WNBA All-Star. And again, I'm getting used to the formats of all this. And y'all, if those that's like really into WNBA, y'all gotta be patient with us. We're still everything with this, but we're not gonna be all apologetic about it. Okay, they gotta sell the product to us, and they are now. They are all right. So 100%. My point with this is the All-Star game when it's an Olympic year, they get the Olympic women's team. Is one team in the All-Star game, which is interesting. So as we see some legends up here, I mean, like I said, Asia Wilson stands out. They got like half of the Aces team. You got Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum. I think there's one more, Chelsea Gray as well. So
yeah. I was trying to look for her name. Yeah,
they got their champions. They're on there, and then other names that stands out to people. These are probably names that's kind of crossed over for general audience people, which we're probably more close to the general audience than hardcore. But Brittany Griner is a name I think a lot of people know. Right. A lot of people know her name.
Diana too. Taurasi.
Taurasi's a legend, right? She's been in, she's like 40 and she's still out there. And I'm just saying, a lot of women don't last to 40 playing ball. So much respect to her. Sabrina Ionescu, I remember her from the All-Star game last year.
Right.
Her. So she has a shot for real. We mentioned the Aces players. Jewel Lloyd. I just learned her because I was watching the Caitlin Clark game against
Okay,
Seattle,
yeah.
and Jewel Lloyd like went off. She just like snapped in that game. So I was like, okay, respect. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm gonna learn about y'all. If y'all like, show out.
Right. And the thing is too, when they blow up, like it's not about just blowing up. It's also the stage that you set. So right now, all eyes are on Caitlin Clark. So you expect all these teams, they're going to give them their all every time they go up against a Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, So
that's what they need to do instead of, and I'm not going to get into the narrative like people are jealous and stuff, but that would have been interesting like when that was a topic, but I'm not going to retread that. But all I'm saying is like, don't be jealous of the shine that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is bringing. Go out there and bust them up on the court. And then that's how I want to know your name, right?
Right.
I wouldn't have known Jewel Lloyd. If she didn't go off, I wouldn't even know who she is. You know what I'm
saying?
100%. Again, another mention of Kelsey Plum, not just because, she's like, model, but she plays like a dude. Would I say like she has handles? Like she be out there crossing, and I'll be like, "Yo, that's what I'm saying. Don't let her looks fool y'all out there." Yeah. Like, oh, Kelsey Plum, like, she's definitely a looker, but she is a hooper. She's a straight up hooper. So much respect to her. Brianna Stewart, maybe a name, especially on the East Coast. They'll probably know her. Now she played, I think, in UConn, and now she's with New York as well. And finally, Alyssa Thomas, a name again I only learned because she was busting up Angel Reese earlier this season, and she like clotheslined her out the air.
Yeah,
she's a part of the Connecticut Sun, which is one of the top teams in the WNBA. So this is a stacked roster. Carlos is what I'm saying with that.
100%.
So and I'm sure they're going to win the gold with that. But they're going against. So what they do with the WNBA, they bring the Olympic team, then they pick a team to go against them, right? So this is where you have Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark on this team. Those are probably the standouts. Outside of that, people may not know a lot of people on this team, right? One person I found to have a lot of respect for is Arike. I can't even say her last name without destroying it, but she's in the bottom middle there.
Okay.
She's part of the Dallas team. I'm sure I'm going to respect and know her name real soon because she's a straight up hooper as well. Right. And I saw her on what was it? What's that show? Shannon Sharp had Nightcap. I stole his name. Right?
Oh yeah,
Nightcap. Yeah, Nightcap.
This is the real Nightcap. Yeah.
I respect Arike because she showed up on Nightcap and was like giving Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese love, saying like, "Yo, we should be wanting more viewers." Like she wasn't jealous of them. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure I watch her game because she has the right attitude, right? But outside of those, to be quite honest, I know no one probably knows who they are, but this is their chance to shine. That's the point.
Right. And with that, I kind of like this avenue that the WNBA is taking. You're giving these young stars a chance to actually shine and show their game in the All-Star. It's not so much of how the NBA is, where it's all pick your favorite players, no matter if they're in losing teams or not. I think, going forward, I know it'll be a little bit different with the NBA when it comes to the male side of things, but I think that'll be kind of interesting to see. The USA team with the with some of the new blood out there.
Exactly. So I'm definitely gonna be watching it. You know what I'm saying? Because because of the new blood, like you said, that's in there. Now again, treat us like WNBA for dummies, right? So I need a cheat list here. I was like, okay, like what should I be expecting this season? Like how long is the season or whatever, right? So they already got the All-Star teams picked. We just showed y'all the teams. All-Stars coming in with about 9 days, like about 2 weeks here. All-Star weekend for the women, right? July 20th is the game.
I think that's next week already.
We're announced the 9th, and then July 20th is the All-Star game.
Right.
So 11 days. Yeah. So then you have the Olympic break, which is interesting. They take, like a month off.
Wow.
And then the ladies go over there and play the Olympics. Then they come back. So you have a month off in the season. That's going to be good for these new players coming right out of college and they get a chance to, rest.
Right.
Trade deadline, and then regular season ends right around time the NBA begins. Right, that's kind of how they synced it up with that. Right, so I'll be keeping this handy anytime some WNBA topics come up. Okay, what date? Where are we at? Because again, this is early stages, y'all. But we're a fan of the product, so we're gonna rock with it. Real quick, the WNBA playoffs, it'll be top 8 teams like of the entire league, right? And so, and you see right now, this is a dream for their ratings. If Chicago, which has Angel Reese, and Indiana with Caitlin Clark, if they both stay in the playoff picture, everybody's gonna be watching it. You know what I mean? Like so that's just how it is, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Now,
it's good to see that schedule because that means for us who love basketball in general, we have basketball all year round at this point. Like it never stops. So that's awesome to see that schedule.
Exactly. So we're gonna keep that handy. Give us some love to the top 2 teams. New York Liberty, that's Breanna Stewart's team. I mentioned Alyssa Thomas. She's with Connecticut Sun. Those are the 2 favorites. Those are the favorites to win it all. So we're keeping an eye on y'all. All right, you know what I'm saying? Much respect to that, and we're gonna when there's something interesting, we'll definitely have the women's topics. We have time now. Let's transition. We mentioned the women's Olympics. We got the men's Olympics. We can talk about real quick here. Now, we already knew the team. We know, what's your thoughts? Because when they picked this team, I was like, okay, why is Halliburton on the team? No, I'm just playing. No, but I was like, okay, we got all, it's kind of the last. This is the last dance. Is this what this whole Olympic thing is right here? This team?
Yeah. Well, to me, this feels like a knock on, not a knock, more like a we released the Redeem documentary, so now we have to revamp this because it was embarrassing last year what we had. It's funny you bring up Halliburton, but the one person I think that shouldn't be on this team, and as great of a player and a scorer that he is, he's already hurt. That's Kevin Durant. Like I feel like somebody else could have fit that spot maybe. Yeah.
That's interesting. I figure only because if they're saying like this is the end of an era and we're talking about LeBron, Steph, KD kind of has to be there. Just a story like 92 Dream Team. We got Magic, we got Jordan. Bird's back is broke, but he has to be a part of this. That's kind of what Durant is.
Okay, I see that.
You know what I'm saying? But I do believe like of this team overall, I think Ant Edwards is going to just go nuts with this loaded team. He had really no help last year or the last Olympics team he was on. He was the only one balling on that team. And so with him, and now he's like, I can kick it to Steph if I need to or dump it to Embiid. He's going to feast, I think.
Another one, and this is going to sound very biased. I might as well just put my let me put my Miami Heat on real quick. So last season in the Olympics, right? Bam played the 5 position. So we were playing very small. This is the first time Bam can go back to his original position and be a 4 and have AD next to him. Do you know how scary that's going to be? That's going to be we have a very big Olympic team. So that's one just in Olympic wise, season wise. I feel like you said, Anthony Edwards and Bam are going to outshine a lot of these players. And in the regular season, and we'll get to that, I feel like Bam's going to have one of the best seasons of his career.
That's going to be interesting. Outside of that, I think, like I said, Ant. I mean, I'm not really expecting much from LeBron or Kawhi. I'm going to be quite honest. I mean, this is an old team. It's a team that's kind of beat up. I think Embiid's going to, really feast. AD has potential, but he, AD, I don't trust him. It's about Ant and probably Tatum. I think both of them would kind of get loose.
Yeah. Well, Tatum has to redeem himself from Boston from the finals. Like to me,
you just win a title, bro.
Nah, bro. Look, man.
This man got redeemed himself from a title. Like,
I'm gonna put this back on. Let me put this back on. Yeah, it's definitely some Boston hate in here. But listen. Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, that one-footed Porzingis, one-footed Porzingis. Like, they did a lot of the carrying, and JT was barely there.
That was wild, though, Colin. This man said Tatum has to redeem himself. This man just won a trophy. This man has to redeem himself. That's amazing, right? Only on night views you have takes like that.
Hey, look. I'm just saying, the last couple times when a championship player has come to the Olympics, they start. He's coming off the bench. That says a lot to me, man.
If KD's not healthy, guy. Okay. So let's real quick before we change. Who should be guaranteed starters on this team? Ant Edwards. And they're going to start LeBron just because, and Embiid. And I say Tatum. I say Tatum should start.
You think Tatum should start?
I think he should start. I'm just saying, like, who should? Because they didn't announce the starters yet, did they? I don't think they did.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So I'm just saying, if I'm going to pick a five, just off the fly, I mean, like I said, Ant has to start. There's no way they're not going to allow LeBron not to start, right? So right. Ant, LeBron, I say Tatum, Embiid, and I guess go ahead and do Steph. Go ahead and throw Steph as that would be my five if I'm going to like pick it.
So here's my five. So we got Curry as your point guard. Mm-hmm. Shooting guard, we got Ant Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Small forward, we're going to have LeBron James, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to have as our center, because I'm going to skip the four right now because that's going to sound...
That's controversial right there.
Yeah. It's going to be Anthony Davis. We're going to start with that as our start. And then it's going to be a toss-up with the center. It's either going to be, if healthy, Anthony Davis. If not, obviously Embiid. But Bam is going to be our starting four.
Like I said, as long as people understand his bias takes with them, as long as you understand up front.
Only reason, bias take put aside. The only reason is our coach, Eric Spoelstra, has talked about it in interviews, how he's excited to see what Bam can bring to the four position. And as a coach of the Olympic team, why wouldn't you already just go all in on that?
That's fair. I think so. Two things. You mentioned AD is kind of like your big. You would start AD over Embiid, just straight up.
Straight up, right now, yeah. I think Embiid, just to be on the safe side, because I feel like Embiid coming off the bench. So let's from what that lineup I said. So your bench is going to be Drew Holiday, Tatum. You're going to have Durant, and a mixture of either Devin Booker, Halliburton. We haven't even mentioned Kawhi. They're going to need a physical big out there. With having LeBron, with having Ant, with having a Bam, you need more of a shooting type of big, which is AD. When AD's healthy, he can shoot it anywhere on the court. So that's how I see it.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. No, fair to, I mean, I just straight up, I would say Embiid all day, every day. But if it's more strategic, I can understand what you mean by that. Now, I would say with Bam, because again, I had to pick on you a little bit because of your biases, right?
Yeah.
I always said with Bam is that obviously, a multifaceted dude. He's talented. He shouldn't be now. When we say like NBA team, like NBA roster, as is now, he shouldn't be your one or two punch. I just feel personally, you get two bona fide stars and then Bam, then this could get nasty with him in the lineup, right? You put him on as the Olympic team. There's no shade on him. There's no shade.
No, not at all.
I'm saying I don't want to have to rely on Bam to give me 30, right? Like a must-win game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you get a capable team around him, he'll feast. He will feast all day.
Right.
Whether setting up people, he has a shot. So I'm giving him some love. So you put him on this Olympic team. Yeah, he's going to be one of the best players because he can do everything. Right. So I give you that. I give you that for sure. I probably wouldn't start him, but I can understand why, Spoelstra would want to start it. It's a good thing. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see the rosters. We got the upcoming games, the showcase games, because they don't start the real Olympics, I think, until August, right? So
that's today.
Yeah, so now you have this Canada game, which bookmark that because it's some interesting rosters. But just to give people a look, it's going to be showcase games for the rest of this month, like every few days or whatever. That's where you can catch the games. Let's look at this, and we'll be once we do these every week we do these shows or every week we're able to do them. We'll bring this schedule back up. But we gotta look at these rosters. So they're playing Canada, all right. Now the team they got RJ Barrett on Canada, Dylan Brooks, they got Lou Dort, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and it was one more, I think, Jamal Murray. Oh, and Nembhard. Oh my God, I didn't know.
And Kelly, they got Kelly Olynyk.
Bro, Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
Canada has a squad. Okay, now
physical people.
Question is, man, because there's a couple rosters here at the bottom. You got the Serbia team of Jokic. We'll see if they all play like him. I don't know. Bogdanovic is on there as well. It was another team. I think they
maybe Jovic is in there too from the Heat.
It's Serbia. France has a squad as well.
Yeah.
With Wemby, Gobert, Fournier, whatever his name is.
I didn't know Batum was on France.
Nicolina, whatever his name is. This former NBA players. Batum. All I'm saying, USA should be favored. So I'm going to say that. Now, I put a question on Twitter through the Steel Nation Sports account. Over under percentage of USA being upset. I put it at 20%. Over under. Do you feel that the USA will just catch one L? Not saying they won't win because you can lose one. I think one of these qualifiers or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you still can win the gold. So I just want to make that clear. I'm talking about when they get to the August where they do like this round robin thing. They can catch an L and still make it to the gold.
Right.
So this isn't saying they're going to lose the gold. I'm just saying, are they going to catch, even in these expedition games, are they going to catch one L or not? That's all over under 20%. What do you say, Carlos?
So looking at they had a practice session with the selective where they select NBA players to come in to verse. It's like another USA team that they pick. They pick a selection of players, and on that squad, man, they had a 17-year-old Kupler. I'm gonna butcher his name, but that man was cooking the lineup. The lineup according to I'm talking about like he was shooting. He crossed Drew Holiday up like nasty. He fell to the ground. He all over the place. So to what you asked me, I would not be surprised if they lose a game.
Right.
I don't think it will be against Canada because of what Drake just did. So
just because of Drake. Canada's gonna lose. This is gonna be interesting. I can't sleep on Germany. Dennis Schroeder had a good run last year as well. So these are some squads, bro. I didn't know Nembhard was on the Canada team. He was cooking in the playoffs. So I
believe Puerto Rico. I remember seeing that like a clip on Twitter that he was I think Olivero from I think it's Pelicans or
okay. Oh, he's with the Pelicans,
with the Pelicans, he was out there. Legendary Carlos Arroyo, who is known for playing for the Puerto Rican team. Like, he was out there, they were shedding tears, hugging each other. So I think they just got confirmed to be in this in the preliminary roster to go up against USA. So that's one team also that you can never count out Puerto Rico, man. They always gave us trouble back in the days. So
Yeah, man. You got the Japan team. You got Rui Hachimura on there as
I
well.
just saw that name right now too.
And not listed is Greece. Giannis Antetokounmpo. They qualified. They won the qualifier to get into the round. So
Yep.
it's I'm gonna be watching all these games, bro. Like whatever they
Yep.
show, because there's gonna be some good teams, man. So we'll see. We'll see what happens now. Before we transition to NBA stuff, you was mentioning some summer standout,
Yes,
summer
sir. Yes,
summer
sir.
league. Now, I'm not going to turn this into another Bronny
Red.
rant, right? Because he, sat out game 2 after being trash game 1, and then our other rookie Connect from the Lakers, he couldn't connect out there. Then Bronny sat out game 2, and Connect continued to brick. I have no hope for my Lakers this year. In fact, they're not my Lakers. I don't know whose Lakers these are, but I'm not even getting to that. Just summer league, Carlos. I don't have the screen up, but just you saying some standouts.
Yeah,
For
so I looked it up, and about like 5, I saw a couple of the games. They've been showing them on ESPN2 and ESPN, throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
So Philly, Ricky Council, the 4th, he's been balling out. His last game he had about 29 points, 6 for 9 shooting. He had he went 5 for 6 from the 3, and it's saying that he's a 2-way player. So that's one for Philly. That's a good rookie, especially with the team they got now. They're gonna probably most likely rely on them. Back in days when I remember with the big 3, we really relied on our rookies with the Norris Coles and the so on and so forth, where we had to give them a chance because that's how the budget worked out when it came to building up those strong superstar teams. So with Memphis, we got Zach Edey. I believe that's how you pronounce him. This dude is the 7'4" monster of the draft from Purdue. This man had 14 points, 13 rebounds, and 2 blocks heading into overtime. Yeah, this man. And then in the overtime, they were at the free throw line, Memphis, and the guy who was shooting it missed it. This man came out of nowhere, tipped it up, won the game. Was a fun summer league game to watch. Yeah, and then they mentioned here, I haven't seen much of his game, but Keontae George from Utah, and Adam Flagler, which is OKC, which OKC is building up a roster this season.
Real talk right there, man. I definitely got to catch up on some summer league games. That's not Laker games. And Eddie, for sure, I was watching him during the tournament. I will say I did watch the Final Four men's.
Yeah.
And I watched all the women's, but the men's I wasn't really watching to Final Four. And Zach Edey, he's huge. He already has an NBA body. You put him there with the Grizzlies. Now I don't imagine he's going to be playing 30 minutes a night or anything like that, because people are going to try to do small ball and take him out of the game. You know what I mean? So
right.
So we'll see, but yeah, that name definitely stands out, Zach Edey.
So before we transition, I got to talk about my boys. So with that, I'm gonna talk. You feel me? We're gonna go Heat here. So I know I've been beating it over the head. I've been saying Miami has finally got their 7-foot center. We're not playing small ball anymore with the signing of Bryant, with the signing of Kevin Love. Kel'el Ware, the Kryptonian himself. That's what he calls himself, the Kryptonian. You feel me? His last game, he dropped 26 points, 11 rebounds, and he had 4 blocks. This man went off with the shooting guard, Cole Sweeter, for Miami. He dropped 21 points, and he went 5 of 10 from the three-point line. Kel'el Ware is going to open up the floor for Bam Adebayo and let him be back in that 4 position. Just keep in mind of that name, that the Kryptonian himself, he is going to make a splash this year. He's almost built like a Wemby, but he has more muscle to him. He can shoot. He can post up down low. It's going to be a nice matchup. And then with that Heat culture, man, it's going to be nice to watch. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him this season.
Now, I know the show's called Night Views, but it's AKA Miami Heat Update weekly. Just get used to it, y'all. I'm already used to it.
Hey, I got to do what I got to do. It's been rough for us.
So, interesting stuff there. Let's get our final thing here is just the latest transactions, because that's really what kind of birthed this show. Me and Carlos was in these message groups. I was like, this could be interesting, and let's see what happens with this. So I was like, let's just jump on camera and talk about it, right? So that's what we're doing now. If y'all saw the show from last week, we touched on some of the big, Klay Thompson and things like that. One thing that kind of stands out to me this week, Carlos, and like I said, chime in if there's any other ones, but I like this DeRozan move. I like the DeRozan to Sacramento. If people out there, if y'all watch the Kings, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, they got all these role players that kind of shows up. And Malik Monk did get hurt. He was pretty solid all year, but he got hurt late in the year, and that really hurt them in the play-in. But you add another guy out there that can create his own shot with DeRozan, guaranteed the Kings are making the playoffs. I don't see them, you know what I mean? Because they missed it last year, but they had injuries. You put DeRozan a steady
mid-range,
this improves their team, right? Don't you think? Oh, this improves them for sure.
So they have been the dark horse in the league in the last couple of years when they are healthy. This team right here, all they have been missing is that one star. Maybe not a superstar, but as long as they got that one star, and DeRozan could be that if he stays healthy. And they never really had that mid range. The only one was their point guard. Like he would, De'Aaron Fox made mid range shooter, 3-point shooter. Where now he doesn't have to take that much load on. Now he can defer it off to DeRozan, set him up, move the ball more, focusing on transitioning. And man, this is a sleeper team for next year in the West with all the moves that's been happening.
Like you said, because I know when people say mid-range, people think, oh, no, it's no more mid-range game. And I can understand that, like it's 3-ball or attack the rim. But I look at it more like DeRozan, like, can he just go get a bucket, right? Because De'Aaron Fox can do that, but he can't do it every single night, right? He's kind of showed he can go on a nice streak, and then it'll be like a week he's kind of off. That's just how he is. He's a really good player. He's not superstar level because he will disappear just, every other week. He'll have a couple games off. So you add a veteran and a bucket getter like DeRozan, they're pretty much in every game, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So 100%. Good, definitely good signing with that. We touched on some of the big things from last week, but just to reiterate, the Spurs, man. Chris Paul, and Harrison Barnes. This is for Wemby. Last year, if y'all saw the trash he was playing with last year, bro,
listen,
like Wemby, there was some games they just was like not even Wemby like stands under the basket, instantly give him the ball. His team was jacking up threes and veteran presence, like automatically, Carlos, and I'm gonna get your thoughts. Automatically, Spurs, they're definitely gonna challenge for the play-in at the very least. I think they're gonna really be a real challenge to get that 9th or 10th seed. I don't see no reason why they shouldn't. What do you think?
This team right here, this team especially, and it would be nice for them to make at least one more move, depending on what it is. But what they got right now, if you remember that Chris Paul team in OKC, what he took them to second round in the playoffs, and then they lost?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Listen, you giving him a true, big man. Lob City is back. I'm expecting to see Chris Paul from the Clippers. Listen, the Spurs are the dark horse. The Spurs are the dark
Dark
horse.
horse. Whoa. Dark horse.
Y'all can come at me in the
What?
comments.
Dark horse
Listen,
for what? I want to make sure. You said dark horse for what?
listen. They're gonna upset a lot of teams if teams sleep on them. That's
But
what I'm gonna
dark,
keep it at. I ain't gonna say no more than that.
oh, so dark horse to win games. Okay, got
Yeah,
you.
I'll take that. I'll leave it at that.
No, I mean, I'm just saying dark horse could mean a lot of things. I think they're gonna definitely. I think they could push like 30 plus wins, and I think they can get the 10th seed if they get that, like 35 wins. I think they really could, and that doubles their wins, I think, from last year. So, but I don't know if you're talking about dark horse like champions, or what are we talking about? Dark horse?
I would say to make a nice push in the playoffs. That's what I mean by that.
Okay.
I'll keep it at for right now until I actually see them on the floor. That's where I'm keeping
It's
them.
still early. I get it. It's still early, so we don't want to, put too much expectations on this young team. But I like moves like that with the Kings. We mentioned the Spurs. Like, I'm gonna get my league pass back, not to watch the Lakers. I'm gonna try not to watch the Lakers, but I'm gonna be watching everyone else for sure. Now, according to what they're saying online here with Buddy Hield, is this a new Splash Brother, or they call it Splash Buddy? You can't really call him Splash Brother. Now,
Splash Buddy.
First off, like, let's never disrespect Klay Thompson out there in social media. There's no splash anything. When Klay is gone, you do not replace Klay Thompson. So, Buddy Hield, good player, solid, doesn't show up every night. He will be more open than ever before with the Warriors. People know he's with the Warriors now. And I splash nothing. Just I hope he hits more than 35% of the shots. What you think, Carlos?
To be real with you though, like I get it. Curry's gonna be covered 110%, but now that there's no Klay, like is he really gonna be that open? Because he's the next guy up. Because who's your second guy on the Warriors? Draymond Green? I ain't giving him the ball. I ain't giving him the ball.
We are, man.
He's gonna see defense.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's gonna see defense like he's never seen it before, especially playing with Philly. Because I didn't even remember he was on the Philly team when he was on there. Yeah, exactly. So if he's the go-to guy now, like, bro, he's gonna see the kitchen sink out there guarding him.
Yeah. Now, whoever tried to say, "Oh, new splash," but like, let's stop that out there. Yeah. Like, let's not do that. I think, like you said, with Curry last year, they were guarding Steph like crazy, just different defenses. I think it's going to be worse this year. I think Steph's going to be covered. Like, it's going to be that box defense. Remember when the Raptors did that in the finals? The boxing one. That's Steph's going to see that all season unless they make another move. Rumor is they want to get marketing from the Jazz. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, but Steph needs help. If Steph doesn't get help, he should demand a trade after the season. I'm dead serious when I say that.
On that marketing news, apparently there is a secret team that came up with like some deal that they're working out. They don't want to reveal what team it is. That could be the Jazz just trying to spark up other teams to make more offers because they don't want to send him to the Warriors. But something to keep an eye out.
Yeah. So we'll see marketing sweepstakes. Any other moves? Those are kind of the big ones from this past week. But any other transactions that may have stood out to you?
I thought for me, the Sixers actually picking up Caleb Martin. I thought that was a big move for them. Caleb, obviously former Heat, so I know his game very well. But he was a big push for us against the Bucks when we eliminated the Bucks when they were the first round seed that one season. And that push that we had all the way to the finals when we were, the playing team going to the finals. So I think he actually, little news on that, he actually is in the process of firing his agent because the Heat offered him $52 million and his agent told him $52 million for 3 years. And the agent told him, no, you're going to get more money somewhere else. And he ended up getting this 4-year deal for a lot. Like, I'm talking about millions of dollars. less. So
That's wild.
it's always trust your gut when you're making these type of decisions. Sometimes you bet on yourself and you try to listen to the right people, and it doesn't work out. So
Well, and with that said, though, now I would say if it was like a 2-year deal, then I'm like, okay, he can go to Philly, ball out because it's gonna be a good team.
right.
And then, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not sure if it's like a player option after year 3 or a team option. I'm sure it's a player option, but this does suck. This does for him personally.
Yeah.
This does financially.
And let's be real. Who wants to go to Philly? Like, let's be real. Who wants to go to Philly?
There could be some positives up there. That's kind of a diss for no reason to Philly, but I think a 4-year deal. He's kind of trapped, and he can't. By the time, he's up for another contract, he won't be able to break the bank. He's not that type of player. You know what I mean?
Like, this was his year to make money.
Yeah.
This was his year. So
that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad, man. But hopefully he gets, he may get a ring. He may get a ring in the next 3 years. We'll see if Paul George. Now, a few people, I don't have it queued up here, but Paul George kind of made some waves with some of his comments. But as far as because I want to get your thought on this, and like I said, I'm a fan of Paul George. I think he's a really good player in my lifetime. Just not. He's not going to take you home. You know what I mean? He's not going to take you across the finish line. But first off, shout out to him picking number 8 in honor of the late, great Kobe Bryant. So you get bonus points for me, Paul George. Kobe, the Black Mamba, was my favorite player ever. I think he could bust anyone's other favorite player, I think. But I was watching the podcast P, which is one of my favorite podcasts, and I think he does a great job with his crew. He was talking about how he kind of fell out, not in a bad way, but just the negotiation with the Clippers kind of fell apart. And I find it very interesting that he was even saying this on his podcast. Did you get a chance to catch that before I reference something? Did you get? Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing that the internet's kind of going in on Paul George about is that Paul George saw himself as he should at least be making as much as Kawhi Leonard. Now, on the surface, I get it, right? Like I get it, but because you can say, okay, health, right? Yeah. Kawhi is always hurt, right? So okay, but Kawhi's a champion, okay. He at one time he was the best two-way player in the league for about 3 or 4 years. Period. When healthy, he's a bucket. It's just health. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. If I'm picking just between the two, they're going to be healthy, and it's like playoff time, championship time. It's Kawhi all day.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Again, that's just my thought. I like Paul. I like Paul George, but.
So with that,
didn't value him as much as Kawhi. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with that though, right? Like I agree with you 100%. Kawhi is that guy. He has 2 rings. He's when he's in that mode, when he's in the championship, he's gonna come out. He's gonna go all out when he's healthy. Mm-hmm. My thing with this, and this is why I actually agree with Paul George, coming to LA was a joint agreement between Kawhi and Paul George. That first contract that they signed it together. They agreed on the money. They agreed on everything. So my whole thing is, especially, and I'm going to bring up the health situations to where that one push when the Bucks actually won the championship against the Suns. Remember who the Suns had to beat? They had to beat the Clippers. And who was playing all those games? And you were like wishing and hoping that Kawhi can stay healthy and play. Right. Paul George took him to almost took him to the mountaintop. So with just that alone, with what you already created, you kind of like, and then this extension that Kawhi got, before this whole situation with Paul George happened, and Paul George talked about it on that podcast episode. He had his extension, Kawhi Leonard, and
Right.
he was still injured. And Paul George actually played this season, and when he did play, he showed out. He played. He played the minutes he had to. They didn't win a lot of games. They didn't make it far in the playoffs. Um, to me, I just feel like if you're going to start this way, I think you got to keep it, especially when I think right now the Clippers are gutted. You went all in on James Harden, which
Right.
I to me does not. He hasn't shown me that he's that guy that you need to put all that money behind. Paul George has been steady for them, and you kind of just blew it up, and now you made a East team much
Right.
stronger.
So, and good points with that. I think with Paul George, he kind of peaked to me. It was the 2021 run that you mentioned. Kawhi
Right.
was out. He got hurt, I think, against the Jazz. And it was probably the Clippers' best chance they could make a run. They got past the Jazz, and then it was them against the Suns. Paul George was carrying the Clippers for sure. That was the best I've seen him play as like the main star. Now, he did not have enough help at all on the team when Kawhi was out, and it was like, who else was he going to lean on? So I give Paul George that credit there. He probably should have got his extension then, to be quite honest, because Kawhi got his a year after that. I don't know why. Now, according to Paul George, in his defense, he's saying, because right now his contract with the Sixers is a 4-year deal, getting 52 per year. Okay, huge contract. Okay, that's like 211 overall. Now, he's saying the Clippers was trying to extend him 2 for $60, which I find laughable actually, because it's like, if you're saying Paul George, if you're saying he's that dude, that's an extreme low ball, and you should have left the Clippers if they was talking about 2 for $60.
That's interesting though. That number is very interesting, because what was the number that they gave? I don't have it. I'll have to pull it up. But the James Harden number was way more than that.
Well, he got 35 a year. So they basically 2 for $70 for James Harden, right? So that's $35 million a year. They basically, when Harden got on that team, I think that was the end of Paul George. Of them saying, Paul George, we're not going to pay you $50 a year. You're just not going to get it because we have Harden now, right? Now, in comparison, Kawhi Leonard is getting $49 a year. You got that 3-year extension. Basically, I'll say 50 a year, 150, 3 years. That's $50 million. And they saw Kawhi 50 a year, Paul George, and then Harden 30 something a year. I mean, if you're Paul George and you feel disrespected, you do feel disrespected. You do feel disrespected. I think he said the final number for them was I think 45 a year. Don't quote me on that, but I know it was in the 40s. Still less than Kawhi, right? Still less, or just right at Kawhi. But then Paul George was like, I will sign it if you give me a no trade clause. And the Clippers said no.
Oh man, you see that right there? That right there is where that irked me, because I'm like, dude, he's willing to take less, not a lot less, but take less. But the one thing he's asking for, you're just straight up telling him, nah, that's not gonna happen. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that, like I said, I don't know if it was other factors, but just the way that Paul George describes it, I think I see what the Clippers were doing. I mean, we're just going to keep it real. It's still business. It's still business. So either take the 30, 35 mil like Harden, play 2 more years with us, and then, you're probably going to be looking for your last team at that point at his age. Or if we give you 45, no trade clause. If it don't work out next year, you're on the market. Because we can get 2 players for you. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the Clippers were looking at. Like, hey, okay, we'll re-sign you. It's a nice feel-good story. But then if this don't work out, you're very tradable with that number. You know what I'm saying?
So that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
That's the business. Man. That's the business. But I'm pulling for Paul George. He's finally going to be on a team where he's not asked to be 1-2 in a 1-2 punch.
So with that, I feel like the pressure's I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and different platforms putting all this pressure on Paul George about, oh, this is it. You're finally on a good, on the team that's going to take you there. I feel like the pressure is on Embiid because Embiid has had how many, mind you, one of them was James Harden, and Ben Simmons, who we can talk about him later. But it's for me, it's as great as a player Embiid is. It's been excuse after excuse. You even had Jimmy Butler with you, at one point. This is now the make or break for Embiid. Like you have no excuse. You need to win, and they've built this team around you.
With Embiid, so it's a tough with Embiid, just on the surface, yeah. Embiid is on you, right? You got to go out. You got to stay healthy. It could be some conditioning things. I don't know, right?
Right.
But last year, we saw he was out there dragging one leg and one eye was jacked up, and you know what I'm saying? So it's his face was shot with muscle relaxers and stuff. So it's I get it. The Jimmy Butler year, I blame Sixers management. You do not let Jimmy Butler out that building because you was right there.
Tobias Harris over me. That's the line you remember forever.
Yeah, exactly. You lost to the eventual champions. Kawhi got it done that year. So that's no shame in that. But keep that team together, man. Yep. And so I'm saying I was giving him being excuses. Even this past year, he tried to gut it out in the middle of the season and then jacked up his knee and everything. It's you just gotta stay healthy, bro. If you're healthy in the playoffs, if Embiid does not win and he's healthy, then I say all blame. But sometimes you gotta have lucky breaks, man. Sometimes you just can't. We mentioned lucky breaks. Kawhi hits that crazy shot to knock him and the Jimmy Butler team out.
Yeah,
that year. So
explode that team up.
that's rough, man. Right? Yeah. That's rough. So, but all pressure. Just to your point, though, all pressure's on Embiid. I'll put no pressure on Paul George.
Yeah. But with that being said, though, the only reason why I'm putting this pressure on Embiid is because now he actually has a player who, if he stays healthy, Embiid doesn't have to kill himself all season long. He can. Defer some shots. He can, move around, focus on maybe defense or the ball could be moved around now, especially when you have a guy like Maxey that you signed, who I feel like he earned his money and he's going to show out. He's going to earn that money. That's how I think Philly's going to. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I say, like I said, Paul George, he's in a great position. All pressure's on Embiid, and then it's Maxey, who just hey, you just gotta stay that number two in some games. Maxey has to take over, depending on the defense. So then Paul George, you sit there, it's target practice. You just sit there and stay open.
Go to work.
You don't gotta run the offense because option one, dump it to Embiid. Option two, pick and roll with Maxey or ISO Maxey. Then you talk about Paul George. You see what I'm saying? So
which is crazy. Yeah, that's a crazy lineup to have.
I'm saying, man. So hey. I'm early favorites. I'm liking Philly in the East. I'm liking Knicks. We talked about a couple of teams. We'll revisit that in the future. Now you on a side comment before we get to our final thing. You did a little slide diss at Ben Simmons. If you want to touch on that, why you're trying.
Listen, man. Ben Simmons, I think pigs are gonna start flying. I think it's gonna be. I'm in Florida right now. It's gonna start snowing down here in Florida. There is an alert. It was released today. Ben Simmons is actually healthy and ready for the season. This man gonna last 2 games. I'm putting a poll out right now. He gonna last 2 games.
2 games, man. I would say 2 games. That's pretty quick. But what I will say, there's gonna be some kind of in season. I gotta take a break. I think that's going to happen for sure.
Mental health break.
Yeah, mental health break. Now, all due respect, we take mental health seriously.
Very much so.
But there's those who abuse it. Just keep it real here. Yeah. Okay? You could easily say that, and then you out there, they catch you on Instagram partying and flossing and all this stuff when you're on your mental break. I'm just saying. I'm almost saying Ben Simmons. Don't trust him, okay? Do not trust this dude. Stay far away from my favorite teams, please.
I don't know, man. I keep hearing he's like a big LeBron fan. The Nets are looking to package him.
The Lakers can have him. Like, I'm out on the Lakers. Like, I hope he goes to the Lakers. That will fully transition me away from them. Like, just totally cut ties.
Oh man,
I'm just saying, bro. The Lakers somehow people keep saying they got 2 of the top 10 players in the league. I can't tell if we're in playing position all season. LeBron's not a top 10 player anymore, yo. And it's probably been like that for the last 2 or 3 years.
On paper, on paper they look like they got the 2 top 10.
Think.
Yeah,
Anthony Davis, he had a really good season, but Anthony Davis is not enough. We've seen it. It's not enough.
LeBron, and he's in the USA team this year, so expect less of him this year in the regular season.
Goodness. Hey, like I said, I'm already out on the Lakers is my point. And adding Ben Simmons, that would show me I made the right decision. Being out if you get Ben Simmons. So we'll see. Now, final thing, when people getting their money, Stephen A. Smith. At times we will mix in some of the sports talk stuff when it kind of makes the news. Stephen A. Smith, it says here, now they were trying to, I think, kind of lowball him recently. I think they were offering him 18 when I think he wanted like 25 or something like that. Yeah. And now they're saying he's going to get somewhere probably 22 and a half. 5 years, we'll see.
Yeah, I think the total was 125 or something like that.
125. So if it's 4 years, that's gonna be interesting. Is comparing this to Troy Aikman, Pat McAfee, which I know he wants his number more than McAfee. That's kind of like his target, and I don't blame him. What do you think? Because like I said, Stephen A. Smith. If we're gonna get all jokes aside, he is ESPN right now. He is First Take. You take that brand away, they will suffer. He makes the headlines and news. He always has them in the conversation for better or worse. I think he's worth this contract. You're talking about ratings and attention. Carlos, what do you think of that?
So at first I was like, how is Stephen A. Smith making more money than LeBron James? I was one of the first ones to almost criticize it, but then so shout out to the OGs podcast with Udonis Haslem and Mike Miller. They interviewed him today. Actually, they had a nice interview, talked about all this stuff, and he actually mentioned how much involved he is with ESPN. Because he had the Stephen A. show where he has a radio show where he talks to us, the fans. He puts it on his Twitter. Hey, call in. I want to, shoot the shot with you. Talk about all these things. You have NBA Today, which he's expected to make appearances if there's something that needs to, if it's something about the Knicks or so on and so forth. He shows up and he's on there. It's all a part of his schedule. So this man literally every show runs through Stephen A. Smith, and that's why when you look at these different shows. A lot of us start, why are they favoriting this team? Or why are they always talking about this topic? It's because a lot of it is influenced by what Stephen A. starts, especially with First Take. So that's why a lot of those convos, those what do you call them? When they go back and forth. Yeah, segments when they go back and forth. Yeah, we see a lot of those come up on the, the top topic of the day. So He has his finger in everything, and it's like you said. Without Stephen A., as much as sometimes he gets on my nerves, it doesn't run without him. He was what Skip Bayless, was at one point, I guess you could say. But right now it's Disney Sport, ESPN is not going to let go of Stephen A. for a very long time.
And I know a lot of people was kind of because again, I'm gonna give Stephen A. his problem. Him and Skip really got a lot of us watching sports talk. That was that era
Yeah.
You know, when they was first take, and then we know what happened with Skip. Skip, him and Shannon. That's a whole nother story with Shannon Sharp. But a lot of people was like, okay, Stephen A could leave, and like let's make Shannon Sharp Shay, like he has like a different lane. I don't see him doing what Stephen A does. You know what I mean? Like that's the point. Would I like Shannon Sharp like once in a while hosting some of these shows or making certain appearances? But no, he has Club Shay. He has
Club Shay Night. Yep.
But and Ocho, that's his lane. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like I wouldn't want that demand to be on Shannon Sharp. And I think that's what Disney kind of looked at. Like it was like, well, we'll lowball you. And then Shannon Sharp can make some of these appearances, or you ain't gonna take Pat McAfee from his show. So if Shannon can't do it, who else do you have? So you gotta keep Stephen A. as long as he can do it. You know what I mean? As long as he can do it.
And shout out, he lover over here. You gotta shout out Udonis Haslem, signed with ESPN. He's on First Take. He's on NBA Today, talking all things basketball with Perk. So that's another thing, and he's another one who's mentioned in volumes how he's taken the master class of Stephen A. Smith. How he approaches his way about of saying certain segments and stuff like that. So it's
interesting. So
Stephen A's that guy.
Hey, I say we're gonna we give credit where it's due over here on Night Views. Even if we clown, I'm gonna clown Stephen A. sometimes. We're gonna bring up some of his crazy takes, like just depending on the week. So we're still gonna roast, but it's entertainment, right? And I think that's one thing I've kind of learned doing content. Sometimes you just got to entertain people, even if you're not even knowing what you're talking about. Sometimes, so that is what it is with that. But as we wrap up this episode, man, like I said, this is really breaking ground on a new era of Still Nation sports and entertainment. If people don't know out there with these shows, like I said, NBA or basketball talk, because we got women and Olympics, so it's gonna be basketball talk when we do Night Views, and then stay tuned for other stuff. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, I'm gonna be if people remember, probably a year or two ago, I was covering the Winning Time Lakers series on HBO Max, and also I had the writer of the book on one of those reviews I did. That was really fun, and it was like sports and entertainment. So that's why we're kind of shifting. It used to be Still Nation Sports Network. It's Still Nation Sports and Entertainment, because there's going to be some entertainment, sports related stuff that we're going to include with this. So
nice.
Really looking forward to that. Any last thing you want to throw out there, Carls, or any other is there any other sports related stuff you do, or people need to know?
As of right now, no. For a little on a side note, what I do, Power 50 Cent on Stars is taking over. I have my own show. It's called the Power Hour. Me and my co-host Ghost. We do a little fun stuff. We review each week. We're on a break on the last season of Ghost Power Book 2. But yeah, man, that's where I'm at doing that, or starting up a new podcast with my sister for Love Island. I'm a Love Island fan, so we on that.
All right, that's what's up. Definitely check out his platforms. I'll make sure it's linked. If you're seeing this on YouTube, if you're seeing this on Twitter, just go right to his profile. I should have a link somehow.
Appreciate you.
So for myself, Celeb Abdul, CeeLos, again, a new era of basketball talk, covering everything. Night Views, take that, Shannon Sharp and Ocho and Mark Jackson and his son. We taking the night over, man. We out of here.